Hey guys, it's Corey from CoreyBakerFilmmaker.com, and I just saw Bohemian Rhapsody, written by Anthony McCarten and Peter Morgan, screenplay by Anthony McCarten, and directed by Bryan Singer. So I caught this movie at the Landmark Theaters on Pico, out near Fox, and it, it's a really great theater. You can't go wrong with it. Bohemian Rhapsody, I've been looking forward to for quite a long time, and I wanted to make sure that I saw it in a place where the audio was right, the screen was right, and everything was exactly up to specifications. At the Landmark, it's a no doubt about it win for the movie going experience if you're out in that general area. Definitely recommend. On to Bohemian Rhapsody. This is a biopic on mostly Freddie Mercury, but sort of the entire band of Queen, the band that Freddie Mercury fronted, obviously. And it sort of follows from their beginning to Live Aid, where essentially the movie ends, and I don't. I'm very conflicted about this whole thing. Uh, it seems like in the beginning, it was doing a lot of things that were trying to be like shortcuts to, like it's not uncommon that if you're doing a biopic, especially one on like a musician like this, like you'll see a lot of scenes where like they get the inspiration and it's like a fully formed like, hey, here's the bass line for Another One Bites the Dust, and it just sort of like happens, like it just came as an epiphany out of nowhere. And there was a lot of that. I think that one of the things that's really sticking with me in the night that I've had to digest the movie is that this seems like Bohemian Rhapsody is a very paint by numbers, very old fashioned biopic. It feels like the type of biopic that would have been made in like the 80s or 90s of somebody who, even if they were conflicted, we were only going to show them having, there was never going to be any fights or there was never going to be any drama. It was only going to show people in the best possible light. And that's Bohemian Rhapsody straight up and down. There's no, the band doesn't fight at all, except for when Freddie Mercury decides to go off and do his solo career. It just seems unusual. Like we're in such a we're in a new golden age of Hollywood where TV has never been better, and you're allowed to be dark and you're allowed to try and do things differently. Yet Bohemian Rhapsody is just, you might as well have just Googled how do I make a biopic and then followed all the steps exactly and not deviated from that formula whatsoever, and then you have this movie. It's let me start here. The acting up and down I thought was pretty incredible. Rami Malek did a phenomenal job as Freddie Mercury. Uh, would go so far as to say maybe a nominated performance from Rami Malek. I don't know if it's a winner yet. There's still some more films to come out this year, but it if he did win, it wouldn't surprise me or upset me in any way. Lucy Boynton was great. Gwilym Lee was great. Ben Hardy was great. All the guys, Joe Mazzello, all the guys who played the members of Queen, and in Lucy's case, Mary Austin, who was Freddie's wife. And yeah, everyone up at the top of the call sheet really, really did what they were supposed to do. It just seemed like they, you know, you're watching a 90s basketball team compete in 2018 season, like a team that doesn't shoot threes or a team that doesn't fly to the outside or anything like that. It's just like all inside perimeter, and you're just like, what it's like you haven't been watching what's been happening here for the last couple of years. So I don't know. It's it's great players, horrible plan, I guess, is the thing I'm coming from. And I know that it took a lot to get this movie made. There were before Rami Malek. I know Sacha Baron Cohen had been signed on to play Freddie Mercury, and that all the surviving members of Queen had a very tight stranglehold on the story that was being told, and that Bryan Singer was the one that they had picked to that the band believed in, and then Bryan Singer, because of Bryan Singer things, ends up getting fired, and yeah, I don't know. There's a lot to unpack here. I the one moment that you never want to have in a biopic that absolutely happened in this one is where I'm watching the movie and I say to myself, I don't think that happened. I don't think it happened like that. And in Bohemian Rhapsody, and specifically, it was Freddie goes to the doctor, gets diagnosed with AIDS or HIV, I guess, and specifically, and then they do Live Aid, which is I remember I was sitting in the theater, like looking at it, going like, I don't think that happened. I'm almost positive that it didn't happen like that. And then you get out of the movie, and the first thing you do is you start Googling, when did Freddie Mercury realize that he had HIV? And you realize that he didn't know until way later. And I knew, like, I'm not like the biggest Queen fan in the world. I love Queen, but I'm not a die in the wool, I know everything about them kind of thing. And that one just hit me immediately. I didn't even need to, like, I Googled to confirm what I thought I had right in my head. And as soon as you start going down that road where you say, wait a minute, that doesn't seem right, and then you start Googling all the other things that aren't right, you've lost your ability to captivate the audience beyond the final credit. Like, you want people to be able to. The best case version of a movie is you see it, you walk out of the theater, you look at whoever you were with, and you say, oh my God, that was amazing. And then when you go to lunch or dinner or whatever, or you're on set or you're at work or you're wherever you may be, and you say, oh, I saw Bohemian Rhapsody, and somebody says, how was it? And you say, it was great, it was 100% what I wanted it to be, only now you know that it's wrong. So you can't walk into a conversation where you say like, oh yeah, it was great, it was the exact Queen story, exactly how it was supposed to be told, except for everything was slightly wrong. I just don't get it. I'm really not trying to be difficult about it. I don't give a shit that they have their first tour of America, which isn't their first tour of America, and they play Fat Bottom Girls, which comes out 6 years after their tour of America. Those are all like, that's shortcut shit. The discovering the bass line, just like, hey, I was playing with this, what do you guys think? Boom, 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 boom. Like that's just to save us the effort of having to watch them for 5 hours trying to figure out how to make the bass line right. I get it. I'm not trying to be a stickler for this thing, but it just all sort of becomes unraveled if the main pieces aren't right. Like, I'm okay with the little things being wrong, but the main pieces have to be right, and it just wasn't here, and I don't understand why it was that way. One other big point that I was thrown off by is that this movie's very PG-13, and I'm sure that the thought process behind it was, let's try and open it up to as big of an audience as humanly possible. Let's try and make sure that everybody who likes Queen, regardless of their age, can go see this movie. But I don't get how you have a preeminent figure in the history of the gay community and you don't explore. I mean, it basically, Freddie Mercury's entire homosexuality is sort of put behind the closet door. It's like, like, oh, yeah, Freddie's gay, and you see him like winking at somebody and going into a door, but you never see him like, there's never a gay love scene with Freddie Mercury, and there's never like early on. There's a scene where a trucker goes into a men's bathroom, and you see Freddie eyeing him up, and at this point, it's Freddie's talking to his wife Mary, and uh, you are getting the idea that he's supposed to be discovering this thing about himself, that he's gay, and this guy gave him a look, and he's fascinated by it. But then we just cut away, like we don't get the moment. Like I I think it would be fascinating to see the actual scene where Freddie Mercury discovers that he's gay, or goes into the bathroom and sees what happened. Like there's so many stories that have been shared to me by friends of mine who've been gay about the moment where it like all falls into place, and it's not like you didn't know that there's something that you have these feelings before, but there's a moment where you have your first gay sexual experience, and I think it would have been beneficial to have something like that in the movie. Like we never have that, and Freddie was legendary as a member of the gay community, is being out there in leather clubs and things like that. I feel like you could have done something to make this not so white bread. Like I, I, the other one that hit me, like during the movie, they uh, point to a gold record on the wall for Pink Floyd, and then later we have Bob Geldof in the movie, not the actual Bob Geldof, but the representation of Bob Geldof. And then at that moment, I just started thinking, The Wall, like Pink Floyd, The Wall is like one of the eminent rock operas, and it fits Pink Floyd to a T. Like if you're a Pink Floyd fan, you love The Wall. It was exactly what you wanted. And and Bohemian Rhapsody, you walk in and you're getting all the music that you like, and Rami Malek's doing a fantastic Freddie Mercury, and everyone else is doing a bang up job, but it's just not like, it doesn't feel like Queen. Like Queen is, to me, I think of Queen a lot in terms of uh, when you hear like We Are the Champions, and it's got that slow build, and you just have Freddie Mercury just sort of like serenading you as you get in through the first little bit of the song, and then as soon as we get past like the light guitar and the light piano and everything like that, it all just sort of hits like a roar of thunder. Just bam, We Are the Champions. Just all the guitars hit, and the drums hit, and the bass hits, and the piano just slams down, and it's just a moment. Like if you're listening to it at a place with a sound system, where like you're in your car and you got the volume all the way turned up, as soon as that moment, as soon as the drop, if you will, happens, you just get this surge inside of you. It's like there's no band that did that. There was no band at the time who was so like atmospheric in their music, like where it felt like the music was just a combination of the world around you rallying you to this moment, and none of that happens in this movie. It's just so like, this movie plays like it should be like, I don't know, like Twiggy or something, like a pop band or something. Like it just so white toast. Final thing, I can't go without talking about the divisive cameo of Mike Myers in this movie. And it seems like the only reason he was there was to set up the one line where it's just like, this is not when they're talking about Bohemian Rhapsody, this is not a song that kids are going to bang their heads to in the car. And like, it just does like one quick shot to every single member of the band sort of going like, oh because Mike Myers, obviously. Uh, I don't think it was necessary. I was fine with it though. At the same time, he's in this movie so little, it doesn't it doesn't really bother me. And it's like if the rest of the movie was like dark and serious and like a real like if it was Bohemian Rhapsody meets Fight Club, then I would be way more upset about it. But I mean, it's so easygoing and so formulaic that it what the fuck do I care if Mike Myers is in this thing? Just one final point, just because I brought up the sort of like the atmospheric feel of Queen music. I I I think that the music, while it's Queen and like we just recognize it, we know it, it doesn't have that same sort of like the post mixing just felt like they just dropped, like the song into the mix and then that was it. They were good with it. But I mean like there's so much that could have been done in the sound mixing and editing and on the post side to sort of like fill the room with the I mean like I'm in a theater with like the whole state of the art sound system and I can't feel the need to be like risen to my feet by the building of this music. It just seems like a car drove by and was playing Queen. Like it didn't fill the space. It didn't make you feel like you were at Live Aid. Like it just felt like there was a crowd sound and there was the Queen sound and there was like it just all felt like it wasn't mixed to be like a proper you know proper studio setup. I don't even understand how you don't spend the time doing that. Now I get that this whole movie really should have been probably a lot worse just with the fact that you have a director, you have Bryan Singer who apparently is not doing his job, but you get him going along the way. He's fired. The guy who did Eddie the Eagle is brought in to shepherd the job to the end. But if you don't have the one constant voice who's leading yourself through the whole thing, then you're just gonna have trouble. And I mean, this thing was troubled before. I mean, even if Bryan Singer finished this fucking thing, I don't think it would be better. But I'm just saying that it's tough to like pick up in the middle like that. And I just don't get how you miss something. Like how do you not sit in the theater and not feel like you're not you need to have at least the sense that you're like at a Queen show. Give people the sensation that they're there and they're experiencing this like you would if you were at Wembley in 1985 at Live Aid. Just do it. Like I, why are you just hit and play on the song we know and love? And uh, very almost inconsequentially slight criticism of the vocals in this. Uh, it's not Rami Malek alone who's doing the vocals of Freddie, and it's not they have like some like incredible sound alike who also like they sort of meld the two together between Rami Malek's vocal performances of Freddie and the incredible sound alike. But there is a difference between the best singer and Freddie Mercury. He was a step above. And there were times when I was watching this movie where I said, it just that didn't sound like Freddie. That didn't the skill that's required is something that only Freddie could do. And if you're going to have other people filling in to try and like get to that moment to like make it sound like Rami Malek is up there doing this all by himself, like he's not. He's got help, but at the moments where you really need Freddie, you just have to get Freddie's vocals. You can't just fuck around. Uh, it's slight, but it's like somebody who does the best karaoke version of a song you love. Like, yes, you can sound a lot like Freddie Mercury if you have the range to do so and you have the ability, but you're never gonna sound like Freddie Mercury. There's only one person who sounds like Freddie Mercury, and it's Freddie Mercury. So if you're I don't get why you would back end on that and just get a sound alike that just doesn't hit the same. Like, you know, we're talking about, again, going back to like a sports example. If we're doing a Michael Jordan movie and you had somebody playing Michael Jordan who legitimately couldn't jump from the foul line, then you would notice that. You would notice that this moment doesn't seem right. Like it seems like it's been orchestrated to look like he jumps from the foul line when he doesn't. And it's just I I think that it's a disservice to who disservice to probably what was the greatest singer in recent history. We will leaderboard you. It's leaderboard time. I saw this movie at the Landmark Theaters in Pico, so another one up there for that. Definitely worth checking out, especially if you're on the west side. It's worth the drive. It's sometimes it feels like driving across country when you have to go to the west side, but I enjoy my time at the Landmark. On to the movie leaderboard. God, I just wish it was better. Like I was so looking like when I heard about this movie before they had done any casting, it was just like I'm gonna be in, I'm gonna see it right away. When I heard that it was going to be Sacha Baron Cohen, I was just like, wow, what an incredibly bold piece of casting. And I knew that Sasha could sing from his time in Sweeney Todd and other things. And then he left because he had problems. And then Rami Malek came in, and I was just like, oh, Rami Malek, that's a wonder, you know. And you see like the still photos and stuff like that, and you say, God damn, he looks so much like Freddie Mercury. You see clips, and he's killing it, and you see the movie, and you're just like, why did they put such an incredible engine in a 1964 Dodge Dart? Like it just, there's new things out. We could put that engine in and wonderful, good-looking new things. We didn't have to put it in something that's so old and dated. That being said, I would give Bohemian Rhapsody 6.9. Yeah, I mean, it's a shame. You got so many good people. You have so many good performances. Uh, it just seems like the all the ideas that went going into this movie just fucking torpedoed it before it even started. Uh, and you know, it's hard to put blame to these sort of things. I don't think the script per se was that bad, but if you don't get it right, then it, I don't know what you're doing here. Anyway, that's it from me. If you want more, you can go to my website, CoreyBakerFilmmaker.com, or you can check out Facebook.com/Corey Baker Film, at LegendCV5 on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. Uh, Sorry I did not get a review out last week, but I was on set. I couldn't break free. Thursdays are going to be the day, though. It's not going to be every Thursday because, you know, sometimes just life gets completely out of hand, and when you're doing 12-hour days, you can't go see a movie too. But Thursdays, reviews. I really want to do something different next week and check out Other Side of the Wind and do a review on that. So it'll be the first one where I don't actually go to the theaters. Like I'm gonna open this up to the Netflix realm. But I'm a huge Orson Welles fan, and I can't wait to catch that movie and see what's up. Also, you know, we're getting into award season, so it's going to be fast and furious with some of these movies. So if I go to see more than just one a week, I'm gonna try and pump out more than one review a week. So uh, keep an eye out on social media for news about that. But you can always catch it here on Thursdays. At the very least, catch it here on Thursdays. Uh, Anywho, Uh, if you excuse me, I have to go find somebody to love.